Hello, and welcome to CEO Authors, the show where leaders share their stories, strategies, and ideas that drive success. I'm your host, Carl Taft, and today I'm excited to welcome. Hello, and welcome to CEO Authors, the show where leaders share their strategies and ideas that drive their success. I'm Carl Taft, and today we're exploring the intersection of leadership, personal transformation, and deeper purpose that drives high-performing individuals and organizations. I'm thrilled to welcome Zen Benefiel, transformational coach, author, podcast host, and organizational guide who has spent decades helping leaders unlock possibility, elevate their awareness, and bring more clarity and intention to the way they work and live. Zen, namaste. Welcome to the show.
Namaste. And you know what? You've got a great surname with some history.
Yeah, and it's kind of a rare name, and in some cases, we all kind of.
Are you in the presidential lineage?
Almost like from an ancient cousin route, if you will. So
Okay,
yeah,
we're all relatives anyway, right?
Yeah, we're all connected. That's exactly right. That you can teach us all more about that. Well, listen, thanks for taking the time. I wanted to begin our conversation by asking you. You describe yourself as a possibilities coagulator.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, somebody hears that for the first time. What does that mean in
It's like,
practice?
what the hell? What? I've never heard that before. Well,
Yes,
it came from a recommendation that Dudley Lynch gave me a couple of decades ago. Now, Dudley was president of Brain Technologies. He developed a Yo Dolphin personality organizational profile and authored a couple of books. One, The Strategy of the Dolphin in the 80s, which is an organizational development book, and another one in the mid to late 90s called The Mother of All Minds. And in that, he says, basically, we have the alpha chassis, which is our body, and the alpha mind was steeped in competition. That's the old paradigm. The new paradigm, the beta mind, is one that's steeped in the understanding of oneness. Now we hear that term, but what the hell does it mean, right? It's that ability to connect and harmonize with everything around you, which we have the capacity of doing, right? And this is ancient technology, ancient wisdom. The Vedas first said it 15,000 years ago-ish, in that we're all divine threads incarnate, connected to source, capable of God consciousness. Well, what's God consciousness? That's the ability to be in unity.
Okay. So for my listeners and myself to an extent, and we talked about this offline, my mom is, was at one point in time a professional psychic, did well in that world. I've come from a sense of spirituality, maybe in a non-traditional sense,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a lot of left brainers out there that are going, what
the hell are you talking about?
What the hell are you talking about?
Right. Well, let's look at it from a brain perspective, right? You got the left and the right hemispheres. One's intellectual, one's steeped in the intellect, process patterns, really definitive analytical type. So the right brain then, as far as we know, is more creative. It's ethereal. It's intuitive. It allows things to come through without filters, where the left brain has filters for everything, right? Well, what's in between those? That's a corpus callosum, right? And it is the transceiver between the two hemispheres. This is the interpreter. Now, what's on the ends of the corpus callosum? On the front end is the pineal. On the bottom end is the hypothalamus, right? These are both critical notations in the development of the understanding of the chakra system and the energy system within the body, right? So if you've got this flow of infinite intelligence that's available to you that is specific for you, right? That's what's flowing into you, and what flows in is based on the curiousness that you have and the questions you ask and the ability to shut up and listen.
Okay, so I'm going to come to that actually. I was listening to one of your podcasts recently. I want to come back to this idea of
Sure.
gut, heart, and mind.
Yeah.
Right. So, but before we get into that,
Right.
when you look at the way people talk about personal growth, right? What's the biggest lie we're telling ourselves, or what can are we kicking down the road? And I say this because I'm in my 50s, right? And I think I start hanging around with more 50-year-olds just because that's how it usually works. And there's a lot of this like trying to find that purpose, right? So what are the challenges there? What could you say to the audience?
Well, the challenges are being honest with yourself and not allowing what we call the imposter syndrome to continually show up. And those are all the limitations that we put on ourselves, right?
I love that. I love that. So tell me more about the imposter syndrome, because I can tell you right now, because wives talk, right? And so my wife will talk to somebody else's wife, will talk to somebody else's wife, and these are all like
Telephone game, right?
yeah.
Who knows what the real truth is, but I hear it, right?
I mean, killer, type A, sharks. And then, but the wife will say something to my wife like, oh, he's unsure of himself. And you'd be like, are you kidding me? That guy has an imposter syndrome. It's a lot more common than I think
Well,
maybe
right,
people will
right.
admit, right? And I think there's
And
comfort
here's
in
what
knowing
I
you're not
see.
alone. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
There's a huge difference. And one is ego-based, right? The fake confidence, the overzealous, I know it all type. And then there's the we-go, which is that combination of intelligence, intuition, sensitivity, mindfulness, curiosity that shows up, that's willing to not know and be confident in what they do know, right? So there is a logic path in that you can follow with what you do know, but then you've got to say, okay, I'm on a precipice because I don't know this, and there's an abyss in front of me. Well, you've got the wings already. You just don't know it, right? And so you feel like you got your wings clipped. That's the imposter syndrome. So when you leap, knowing that the answers will be there, there's a lot of faith, love, and trust in this operation, right? And that's from within. And then this gets into that three brain scenario you were just talking about, right? The gut, the heart, and the head. First brain's your gut. Science has proven now there's more neurosensors there than we ever imagined. Well, why? Because we've already known that it's intuition, gut feeling. Why is that? Because that's where you connect all the vibrations around you.
Right.
And we all know now, because of quantum particle physics, right? Everything's vibrations. There is no matter. It's all the condensation of those vibrations into various forms, depending on the formless, which is cosmic consciousness, that then condenses into the form, which is what many call Buddha consciousness or Christ consciousness, because that element is now in body and you have access to it. This is what the Vedas reveal. This is what all the scriptural teachings reveal, is that you have access to source material specific to you. You just got to learn how to ask the right questions. And then again, allow that gut sensation. The heart then discerns, is it desirable or undesirable? It's kind of a Dallas thing. And then you get into the quantum computer sitting on top of your shoulder that only works with feed in information. So what are you feeding it from your body? Well, it's clearer information, because the body's a transceiver. It picks up everything and then it transmits that into that quantum computer that then can make the appropriate choices when it's able to still its own thinking and be available to the inner voice that we all have.
You're right. I think, though, so many of us, myself included, don't listen to that inner voice.
Oh, absolutely.
We
Right. It's like subtle promptings, not powerful. So we tend to dismiss it immediately and move on to what we think we know and operate from past experience. And you can't do that in the present.
Okay, so let's go deeper there. So,
Okay.
okay, I come to you and I say, we're talking about this stuff, but I can't find it, right? Like I get it, I understand it to a degree, but I'm still
Mhm.
trying to like it's words, right? It's words in my body. It's it's thoughts going around, but you're like you can't put your thumb on it, right? It's out of focus, right?
Right.
How do you
Why?
find?
Because you're trying,
Okay.
right? Here's again another distinction, subtle but profound. When you're seeing, When you're looking to find something, you're not going to, because you're pushing it away with your energy. When you're curious and have the question of what's next, or what do I need to know, or how can I serve this situation best, or what are the details that I can't see that I need to be aware of in order to better facilitate these people to do the work necessary, right? Once you begin to practice that, the answers come, right? They're in that subtle form, and
Yeah.
you'll get them almost instantly. The challenge is to hit the pause button and pay attention to that, because your intention is to have a good experience, right? And if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong. So they say, right? And I find that to be true, because you can have fun in anything. Then your interactions can be aligned with your attention and intention. And so, what are you going to have when all of those things are in alignment? You're going to have a good experience, maybe even exceed your expectations. This is what happens in my partnering workshops and my coaching, right? There's
Okay.
this minimal expectations that people have of their job satisfaction, right? Well, when you get a team that has cohesion and is coherent,
Right.
because you've set it up that way with the principles you're operating on, the ethical and moral behaviors that you all agree on up front, so there's nothing left uncovered, right? These are all things that I expose and bring to the surface so that we can get ubiquitous agreement on them, because it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Usually, right? That resonance that you feel. And so then that's what you use to move forward, to flesh out, for instance, in the issue resolution process in my partnering workshops. So it's like a Dale Carnegie routine, right? You throw everything up on the board, no judgment whatsoever. And then you go back through and decide which ones are talking points, which ones are just, everybody needs to be aware of, nothing big. And then you've got those in a 2 to 5 year schedule that are going to happen at specific times during the schedule, when particular aspects of the job are in play. And then you got to have something in place to pull the trigger on that takes care of that issue, that solves it in the moment, so that you don't have work stoppage, because that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars an hour.
Yeah, let's dig a little deeper on that. I like that, and I heard on one of your podcasts, and it was like, for the listeners out there that do B&I, it reminded me of, like, when I give referrals come to me, this reciprocity type of
Right.
deal, right? And so you said something that was, if I help enough people get what they want, ultimately I'll get what I want at
That's
some
Zig
point,
Ziglar, right?
right? Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So, okay. You said you might go someplace to do a workshop, and I won't get into all the details, but
Mhm.
it's in the construction field.
Right.
I help owners sell businesses, owners of construction people, or owners of construction companies. Some of them are prickly individuals, right? And you hear a lot of, like, can't find good help. I don't like whatever X, Y, and Z, and rah 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 rah. Right?
Mhm.
Is that person, past triage? Is he help? Is he or she, potentially, can they right the ship, if you will, with that mindset?
Well, yeah, we always get in our own way, and it depends on
Love it.
how we get into the place of recognizing, oh, I'm in my own way. I got stinking thinking, and I know it. Who can I talk to about it that I can feel vulnerable enough to share it with, and not feel like I'm getting too exposed,
I love that.
right?
I love that. I think every business owner needs a therapist. I mean, I went to therapy as a business owner, then I joined EO, then I found some, circle of friends, but we're always looking for that trusted group or person to
Well,
talk to,
with my
right?
background, I tend to have it all. It's just because I've desired to learn,
Yeah.
and I'm continuing to
Yeah.
educate myself. I had a spiritual awakening at 18 that showed me that we're all cosmic consciousness condensed into form, just unaware. Well, I've spent the last 50 years figuring out, okay, how do I share that effectively so that it's articulated well, and even understood, because for 45 years, there was really no listening until COVID, or just before COVID. And then things started to open up a little bit, mainly because of quantum physics and that opening to understanding, oh, there's more, there's a multidimensional aspect to ourselves that, yes, that's also in the scriptures, but at the same time, there wasn't any science to back it up. Well, now there is. Nepi and Close have a triadic dimensional distinction vortical paradigm theory of everything quantum physics paper that basically says consciousness, space, and time are tethered across 9 dimensions for the human experience. It doesn't eliminate other dimensions. It just says this is our bandwidth, right? And on each of those dimensions, we have a personality or a body on each one of those. It's operational that we're unaware of because we've never been there to experience. I happened to have the opportunity in 1989 to go there, to be that, to experience it as a direct experience. And we can only rely on our truth as our own direct experience. Some of our direct experience is way beyond the norm, which makes it difficult when you're an outlier. You're not lying, right? You're telling your truth. However, it sounds incredulous to those who haven't, the left brainers like you, right?
Yeah.
I totally get that. I was a math and science guy in school. I started a pre-med program, right? And
Right. Oh, that's
it
fair.
had the awakening. It's like, okay, something's different. I got to adjust my trajectory and allow things to flow to me, simply because I was told to trust and allow, and that everything would be there at its appointed time. Well, when you're given those directions at the level of understanding and incomprehensible intelligence, you kind of pay attention.
So when somebody's trying to, find those higher levels, find some enlightenment, find a sense of faith, right? And there's maybe ways to get there.
The biggest is in yourself.
Yeah. Do you find that maybe the number one tool to get there is like meditation? Is it being in a place of calm? Like what would you
I
say?
don't
Like,
know that there's
how
a
do you-
number one tour, because we're
Mhm.
all diverse. We all have different learning styles. We all use different multiple intelligences, like Garner talks about. Um, and there's all kinds of different ways that we connect with things, and the diversity that we have, the neurodiversity, right? We think differently. Everybody thinks differently. However, there are some processes that are the same. And that's the one of going within, first of all. How you get there is a variety of different ways. It could be like bhakti yoga, which is a walking meditation. So you're walking and talking to yourself, right? And God, or whatever you want to call it, right? The infinite intelligence that's inside you, right? We think it's all outside of us. There's nothing outside of us. The only thing outside of us is a reflection on what's truly inside of us, even as a collective population. We know that now from science and spirituality. So as these things evolve, there's an opportunity to pause and reflect. I shared with you a really simple method that I use that I found. Maybe this is where prayer, the hands folded, started. You put your fingertips together and feel your heartbeat in them, and just practice on deepening your breath and your awareness of your heartbeat. Well, when you're feeling your heartbeat, you're in your sensory apparatus instead of your thinking apparatus, right? Your heart, right,
That makes
pumps
sense.
throughout the body. When you practice it enough, you can actually feel your whole body pulse. Now, when you're in that place and you're so connected with your body, that opens up the mind, that voice from within.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense. I think
I went to a left brainer, huh?
right, or is it? I always get this confused. Right brain, here I come.
Yeah.
So, you know, do you see any like big challenges that people are facing, like knowing why they're doing things or what they should be doing, like that inner conflict and like, okay, so you want to make a change, It starts from looking within. Do the answers approach you, or do you come up with the answers?
Yes, because it's all you, right?
Yeah.
It's all what you know. It's all what you're connected with. In that moment, let's talk about neuroscience for just a minute. We have 70,000 thoughts a day.
Right.
Probably the majority of them, I'd hazard a guess that 85 to 90% are all self-deprecating. We're always getting upset with ourselves because we didn't do something right or as good as we think we could have, right? Instead of failing forward and saying, okay, tried that, didn't work, what's next? Right? And not getting stuck on the
Yeah.
judgment, the condemnation, the critical nature. What's that do? It just makes you feel worse about yourself. Why would you want to do that? Now, and that's our society, right? That's the programming, mostly religious, that we've received over millennia, that we're not good enough, we're not connected, that we've all fallen short of. And right. So bullshit. Right. Um, there's this, when you have an experience of a connectivity, right? It changes your perspective. And your
Okay.
perspective manages your perception.
That's great. So, for the listeners out there that are struggling with maybe clarity and why clarity is so difficult to achieve maybe on their own, what would you say to that?
I need a guy like me, right?
Yeah.
Now, I have particular skill sets that many don't. Some I've developed, some are natural.
Yeah.
This natural, intuitive, empathetic, even telepathic ability that we all have, because I learned of it young and was able to pay attention and just observe, not necessarily talk about it a whole lot, because it really freaks people out when you do that. But to be in that place, to just listen, to hear, to respond. The Mayans have a phrase called "In la quechua kin." It means I am another you and we are one. And this is true. In that energy field where there is no separation,
Yeah.
we have access to each other. And one who offers himself or herself in service has those things come to them that empowers them to serve, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's an individual or group. Again, it's being able to, we need to carry around a pause button, right? And we can just remember, have it on our chest. Hit the pause button, just be still for a moment, take a breath, allow yourself to be present in the moment without history or future.
Yeah. Yeah. So true.
And intend to have a good experience with positive results that are at least aimed toward the collective goal.
Yeah. So for the sales guys that I train and that know me personally and that work with me, that's how you become a good salesman.
Absolutely.
You be in the present. You find that electrical chemistry, aura, vibe, whatever you want to do.
You
But
listen
it's
to things.
being
You listen for things to ask questions about.
100%, 100%. Yep, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
Like
it's not
that's.
telling, it's listening.
Hmm. Hmm.
And this is where salespeople make a mistake. Huge,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah,
And it's all in their lack of confidence that they're really secure in what they're
yeah.
selling is actually meeting the needs of the person that they're trying to get to buy it.
Or they're thinking about themselves, right? And it's the one deal, and they're putting way too much value on the relationship or the outcome, so they white knuckle it, and then what happens, right? The water just squeezes out of their hands. But if they're
When you
just
white knuckle, that's
open,
fear,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
what happens when you're in fear, right? You butt pucker, you
yeah,
constrict,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And when you do that, what's that do? It shuts off everything around you.
So you heard it here, guys. No butt puckering, right? That's what we want
Exactly.
to do. But yeah, I mean, it's exactly right. And the same
And
goes
it's
like,
fun to make it funny, right? Because
yeah,
these situations are not funny when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah. But that idea, right? Like I was talking to somebody recently and he was talking about like, oh, the leader walked through the shop floor or whatever it was. And just there was some intention, there was some care and like
They
those
call that
little,
management by walking around.
yeah. And those little actions go such a long way. And it might not be some spiritual connection, but
No,
at least from,
the activity, right?
yeah,
That goes beyond the words,
yeah,
right, to the actions. That's what we pay attention to. And it's those
right.
subtle, seemingly insignificant to the majority,
Yeah.
little actions that are taken where you show up and you validate your intention, your purpose, your vision, the company mission, right? All of those things are working toward a collective goal. And the more you can coalesce those around you toward it through your leadership behavior, not your words,
Yep.
the better results you'll get. I was in the aerospace industry. My first corporate job was in charge of $7 million a month and 800 part numbers
Yeah.
for commercial spares,
Yeah.
right? I flew to the top of the production charts. Youngest person in the 35 member department, right? Couldn't understand what happened. They came to me. What are you doing? I'm talking to people like I'd like to be talked to, right? Not that hard. And I looked for things to help them. And then, so I did well in that, got interpersonal skills classes, kind of nudged along. And then they put me on the military spares desk, which had a 28% delinquent rate. And the military, the DoD, had taken $1 million a month progress payment away from us because of that. They warned us several times, but evidently, wasn't
Yeah.
paying attention. So they put me on the desk. And within less than 12 months, I got it under 10%. Now, how did I do that? Very things that I'm talking about.
I'm right there with you. I mean, first job out of school as well, same thing, put on the production floor, during the Jack Welch days. So a lot of like management development programs were in
Right,
place. Six
right.
Sigma was kind of hot,
Oh, the
right?
hatchet man, too.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
right. So walking through, same thing, just walking through, and they're like, oh, like why don't you see what you could save us, Carl? And all I did was just walk through, talk to people about their jobs, how I could make it easier. And like when I presented to corporate, it was like, all the people that weren't doing that, it was like here. And then I came in, it was like 100x improvement. So like, oh wow, let's promote this guy, let's move him forward. But it wasn't rocket science. All it is
no,
just
it's it.
walk the
It is
floor,
so simple,
connect.
it's
It's like,
ridiculous, right?
yeah,
We
take the
pile all
time.
these preconceptions on top
Yeah.
of things
Yeah.
and forget how to love and be loved. That's really what it's all about.
Yeah. 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 And the people that do the jobs are smarter than you at that job. So just talk to them about how to make their job better, safer, more efficient,
Servant
whatever.
leadership.
Right. And then you get there. And whether that's the age of AI and the internet, or you're making a widget with a chisel and a hammer, or whatever it
Yeah,
is, like it's all the same
right.
stuff.
One
Yeah.
of my most recent books is called Navigating Holistic Growth, the
One of
Servant Leader's Guide. And I
Love
talk
it.
about these various
Yeah.
things.
Yeah. Love it. And you're what is that, like book number 50?
Oh, I'm at 49 now, and the
Okay.
48 and 49 is
All
kind of
right.
like the James Gang, right? Number 48 and 49, you remember them? So I love to connect stuff to me. I'm a progressive drummer, so I've done that for years. Um, and so the two are about the recursive function, and they're both
Okay.
called. Main title is Recursive Awakening. The first one is Spiraling from Self to Source, and the second one is Aligning Mind, Body, and Spirit. The first one deals with the internal individual, and the second one deals with the internal individual in group settings and being able to manage people better, to lead people. Now, recursive function, what is that? Well, it came out of the computer world, and it simply means a system that queries itself for problem solving. What have we
Okay.
been talking about? Querying self, right?
Right.
We have that natural. Again, that's been throughout all the spiritual teachings. You got to direct connect, go into your closet and pray, all that kind of stuff, right? It's all the same thing. It's not religious. It really isn't.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
practical applications of awareness.
That's great. That's great. Zen, this has been amazing. Before we kind of wrap up, is there like a final thought or challenge you'd like to leave with leaders that are listening?
Figure out what it means to love yourself.
True that. True that. That's great. This conversation has been incredible, sir. Where can listeners go to learn more about your work, your
Oh,
book?
yeah, there is that too.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, now this is interesting. When I was in the aerospace industry,
Yeah.
I registered my business name then, and it is Be the Dream.
Be
How's
the
that
be
for a business name,
be
right?
BeTheDream.com. I see it right here. Yes,
Activity,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Then my podcast, One World in the New World, is on YouTube.
Yep.
My most recent endeavor is a nonprofit called Planetary Citizens, and it's at planetarycitizens.net, where I take the recursive function activity and I explode the co-creation wheel that came out of spiral dynamics and look at how we can create a holistic system on Earth in our society that serves the needs of all.
Gotcha. Zen, amazing. Podcaster, author, coach, and guide. Truly appreciate your time and perspective. And to our audience, thanks for joining us on CEO Authors Podcast. Stay tuned for more conversations with thinkers, leaders, shaping how we work, lead, and live.
Carl, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.